For news beyond the game, it's Frontier News.
2 streams this week. The Tuesday stream was Super Cruise News number 32 with Zach and Sally. Link is in the show notes. You don't need to use it. The next link is Thursday, Conflict Zones with Dav Stott, Art, Bruce, and Dav. Link is in the show notes. If you have not seen this, you need to go see this. This is not one to miss. Dav Stott is the head of online or servers, whatever. He's the whatever that the wording is for that. He's the head of he's the server god, and he's always good. And when he comes on, he says things that should be listened to. And he said great things that should be listened to. Check that out. There were several questions that he was asked where his answer was, I do the servers. That's not my thing. I don't know. And I thought, that's good. Just fucking say it directly. That's awesome. I salute that. But when he several things that he was asked, or that he just brought up, where he talked about stuff about the BGS and new stuff that's happening there, he talked about the fact that settlements are the places that grow the food and mine the ore and make the shit, make the compressors and this and that and the other, the computers and the whatever, so that when you go to a settlement and buy the wheat or buy the iron or buy the computer, you're going to get it for cheaper than when you go to the station, because the idea is settlements generate the shit and then ship it to stations, which then trade and use the shit. So obviously, if you go and buy corn in Iowa, it's going to be cheaper, or Nebraska, because that's where it's from. What did you think, Tweak?
As I've said before, I've had a man crush on Dav Stott for quite a while now. His stream about the BGS a few years back was not to be missed, really, if you're a BGS guy or if you're curious how the BGS works. And he said some interesting things, like I mentioned earlier, about how there's a lot of varied settlement types that weren't in this alpha yet. He brought up a point that I wondered why he brought it up, honestly, was how the instancing works. You know, that we are mostly peer-to-peer. If you and I are shooting at each other, that's peer-to-peer. But there's a server node, or I can't remember the terminology that he used exactly.
So the terminology, just to be clear, that he used, and then I'll let you finish your point, was that certain aspects are peer-to-peer. Other data is held under the AWS, Amazon Web Servers, which holds other data. So what the part I think that you're referencing was, he talked about the fact that when you first make a connection, it will try first to use just straight peer-to-peer. But then for other parts of it, if there's a weird situation where you're having trouble connecting, it'll revert to a backup process that is part of the AWS, where it's an extra jump. So the computer, the game tries to not have that happen, but if it must, it does. Go ahead and finish your point, Tweak.
Yeah, I just found it odd because he brought it up as a kind of point of contention or a point of interest, I guess, and it really didn't apply to anything else. So that makes me wonder if that got a little bit buffed with this new update or something, possibly. He did talk about the BGS and about the buckets and how the new missions and everything are going to work, but unless I missed it, I could not discern if he identified clearly if there are new buckets or if these missions go into the old buckets. So
he did not identify clearly, but that doesn't mean there aren't any new buckets. That just means he didn't disclose them.
Right. But no, I mean, Dav Stott not leaks, but I guess information sneaks out of Dav Stott at all times. So if you guys did not watch Thursday's FDev stream, you can go back and find it on YouTube or on Twitch. I highly suggest watching it, even when they go into the conflict zones and they start playing the game, because he gives out all kinds of great information.
Oh, yeah.
There. I walked away from that stream that day. I was at work and I was watching the stream, and when that ended, I felt more optimistic about the release to come on the 19th than I have since before the Odyssey came out, or the alpha came out, really.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was a great stream. Go and check that out. Which takes us to Galnet News. So, link is in the show notes. Go check out the permalink for the Galnet News. This week we had on May the 3rd, Nova Imperium targeted by superpowers. Tied to that, on May the 6th, there was 2 posts. The first one was Federation attacks Nova Imperium. Let me break that down real quick. These 2 posts, basically what happened was the guy that ran away from the NMLA, from the last station when they lost the CG, he ran to this new place, asked for asylum, and he's basically saying, and And the evil guy that's running the NMLA is Hadrian Duval, which makes absolutely no fucking sense. And Hadrian Duval has responded saying, they tried to kill me. Remember, I was in a medically induced coma. Also, not for nothing, I'm the guy who wants to go back to make the empire great again. And these guys want to abolish the empire. I want to be the emperor. They want to make sure there's no emperor. This makes no sense. I would never be a part of them. That would be like saying that Rush Limbaugh is secretly in charge of trying to take Black Lives Matter protesters and turn them into rioters. Like, this makes no sense whatsoever. This is a guy that is far right-wing as possible, and you're accusing him of being a left-wing terrorist. Like, this is just nonsense. But there's a group that have moved in and said, we don't need proof. We're not waiting for evidence. We're not waiting even for the rightful authorities to address this. We're just going to say, good enough for us. Let's go lynch this dude. What the fuck? So there's that. The other post that came out on May the 6th was the Hudson Initiative increases federal surveillance. So here we had the outcome of the community goal for last week, which was you had President Trump, Hudson on the one side, and Felicia Winters on the other. And Hudson was saying, we want to spy on everybody. And Felicia Winters was saying, we want to stop him from spying. And story-wise, it makes absolutely no sense to support Hudson and his thing, but he was offering the better reward. He offered the better shiny because he offered a kill warrant scanner, which 10% of anyone will ever use. And Felicia Winters offered electronic countermeasures module, which 0% of anyone will ever use. Okay. Your opinion is not shared by the vast majority of all the players who said, fuck personal freedom and security and privacy. We're going to go ahead and make this a fucking Stasi state where the big brother spies on us because I want that kill warrant scanner. And as a result, the Hudson won the thing, overwhelmingly won the thing. And that sucked. And the next and last and only of the Galnet stories this week that didn't bum me the fuck out was one about the voice of salvation. Now, if you remember, salvation is the code name that's used by whoever this secret, quote, man of science is that sent you on the mission to go and sort of find the Hesperus. And this is very, very cool because the enigmatic salvation sent out a message to commanders he recently recruited to discover the Hesperus megaship, saying, the vessel we found at Perseus Dark Region KCV C2-2 system after salvation provided an access to read the automated SOS. Pilots were then encouraged to deliver the surviving logs to Taurus Mining Ventures at the Hind Mine asteroid base in T Tauri system. So basically what they're saying here with this is, hey, there's a deadline to turn in that data that you got. If you were the guy, if you went out there and scanned the beacon and did all the stuff, and you can get your 2 million credits or 10 void opals, 10 tons of void opals. But the deadline to pick that up is ending on May 21st, 3307. So I guess unlike other ones, on other CGs, if you don't get your money soon, then you're not going to be able to get it. I think that's very cool because to me, that basically says, hey, guys, we're FDev and we're saying that on May 21st or sometime soon thereafter, we're going to take the next step for this thing. And that's when we're going to clear out the old rewards so we can make room for the new rewards. Meaning to me, this story is continuing, which they've already said it's continuing, but it's good. Like, yeah, we're seeing it, that it's continuing. Here's the thing. We've speculated before that salvation was Palin, because that's the only one. Palin makes a lot of sense. Some INRA scientist makes a little sense. Ramtom makes a little sense. Here's one thing we completely left out. What if salvation is not a person, but an AI? What if salvation is Project Thunderchild? What if salvation is this AI that was created by the Federation, put into dormancy? I mean, it was created not by the Federation, created by Galcop back in the day, by INRA back in the Galcop days as a secret project to fight the Thargoids. And now that the Thargoids are back, the AI is back and it's trying to work on a whole thing. That could be an amazing storyline. Huge props if that's the case. Like, holy shit, Frontier, you guys are doing good story. I salute you for that. So that's the Galnet news. We'll see how it plays out community goal wise. Last week, as we said, very sadly, President fucking evil Stasi state. We want to spy on everybody, report your parents for cheating on their taxes. 1. And shadow president, we just want to be cool and groovy to people, lost. So people voted with their wallets, or in this case, the shiny module that they wanted. And that sucked. The new ongoing CG that's happening right now. Again, this CG is just for cash. It doesn't offer a cool module. So that kind of sucks, and I get that people are going to be less inclined to be excited about it. But story-wise, the answer is very clear here. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, understand this. Everyone needs to go and fight for the Imperium, Nova Imperium. Everyone needs to go fight for the that side, the Empire side in this one particular case, because to be clear, so there's no misunderstanding, before where we said, hey, fight for the Federation because the Empire is invading federated space to try to hunt down the NMLA or hunt down the Marlinist, who they accused of being tied to the NMLA for no good reason. Now it's flipped the exact opposite. This is a Federation faction that has invaded Empire space with no valid warrant, no reason, no cause. It's just an accusation. To be clear, the ACT, which is the governing body of investigators, which is like a CIA, an anti-terrorist group that was put together by all of the superpowers. They've said, okay, we're looking into this. Accusations have been made about this Nova Imperium guy, Hadrian Duvall, but kind of don't make sense. We need to look into this and see if it's accurate. These fuckers have showed up and said, fuck that. We're starting a posse. We're going to invade somebody else's space and we're going to kill him or arrest him or whatever. Fuck that. So everyone, I know it's only for money. There's no cool modules, but please, for the sake of the story, fight for the side of Nova Imperium. Go ahead and fucking let's turn back these guys who have just decided that they want to, do a crazy no justice, like they're just making themselves judge, jury, and executioner and invading another country to do it so that they can go after this guy who there has been no evidence found on. It's just an accusation. This is absolutely bullshit. Somebody said in the chat, Hadrian absolutely benefits from Duvall's deaths. Yes, but guess what? He was the second fucker that they attempted to assassinate. He doesn't benefit from his own death. He was in a medical coma. Jesus Christ. Makes no sense. All right. And that takes us to, that takes us to real life science.